Now we'll do an example on consignment sales. If you remember from our concept that you learned from the PowerPoint slides, that consignor sends or transfers some products to consignee, and consignee works just as an agent and help to sell the products. And there might be several other conditions. For example, some freight cost might be involved, or consignee may pay for some advertising fees. So we'll see one example here how we will calculate those revenues, cost of goods sold, and profits. On your slides you saw the journal entry problems. You have few other journal entries, but this problem is only asking for some numbers, no journal entries. Let's see how we can do that. On May 3rd, 2025, Aisler Company consigned 80 freezers costing $500 each to Reimers Company. So Aisler is the consignor, whereas Reimers is the consignee, and the cost of the shipping is $840. That was paid by Aisler. So remember, freight cost is a part of your inventory cost. On December 30th, they received a report from the consignee that 40 freezers had been sold. Total 80 freezers they sent, and the consignee was able to sell half of those freezers. And they sold each freeze for $750. Remittance was made by the consignee for the amount due after deducting a commission of 6%. This is consignee's revenues. They are getting a commission when they sell the consignor's products. They also paid advertising expenses, and there is also installation costs. Remember, usually those advertising expense or installation costs, those should be reimbursed by the consignor, and that will affect the ultimate profit that the consignor will make. Now let's calculate the numbers. Number A, compute the inventory value. So we need to calculate the inventory value of unsold. Well, they sold half, so half is unsold, so it's half. So we'll calculate the cost of goods sold or the remaining inventory value. That would be the same. So of course the 80 freezers cost, you already know that here $500. Plus there is some freight cost. So freight cost is a part of the product cost. So if you need to calculate the inventory cost, first the cost of the freezers, cost of inventory, we will see here $500 multiplied by 80 freezers. Each freezer cost is $500. If you multiply it by 80, it will be $40,000. And then you have to add the freight cost. So freight cost for all those freezers, since all those are sent and you paid the freight cost, which is $840, so I'm gonna add this $840 to get the actual cost of those whole bulk of 80 freezers or the inventory. So total cost will be 40,840. 40,840. So now the question is the unsold inventory. Unsold means half of the inventory, right? So they sold 40, so 40 are unsold. So unsold inventory value will be half of it. Unsold inventory value will be 40,840 divided by 2. So the unsold inventory value will be 20,420. Now let's see the next question. The next question is asking about the calculation of the profit that the consignor or the original manufacturer will make. Of course, the consignor will receive the sales revenues, but remember they have cost of goods sold, which is half and half of the product cost of goods sold. We already calculated it, and then they have to pay commission to the consignee 6%. based on the total amount of sales revenue the consignee was able to sell. Then you have advertising cost and installation cost that usually consignee pays that, but those will be reimbursed. So we'll subtract all those costs and then we will calculate the profit. So let's calculate the profit here. First, we will see the sales revenues, right? So consignment sales revenues. Sales revenues, and you remember here the last information you see about the sales related is each freezer is sold for $750. So $750 multiplied by 40 freezers. So they sold 40 freezers. Total sales revenue, consignment sales revenue is $30,000. Now you have to subtract the cost of goods sold. So for the 40 freezers, here we calculated the cost of goods sold for 80 freezers. So half of those whole 40 freezers, the cost of goods sold, we already calculated it. For the unsold, which is the other half, $20,420. So we subtract cost of goods sold. Then we have to pay the commissions to the consignee, and commissions will be 6% based on the sales revenue number. So you have to subtract the commission to consignees. So I'm just writing commissions, and you can also calculate the numbers. Commissions, which is 6% on 30,000, which is the total sales revenues they made, and we have to subtract that 1,800. So either you can use minus sign or you can use like the bracket. Make sure you are subtracting those, and you have to also subtract advertising and installation, those that ultimately will be paid by the consignor. So advertising, let's subtract that advertising expense, which was $200, and then installation cost. This is advertising expense, all our expenses, it's $320. So after subtracting all those costs, the profit, net profit on those consignment sales will be, if you do that, 30,000 minus 20,420 minus 1,800 minus 200 minus 320 will give you the number 7,260. This is part B, requirement number B. Now, what we will be doing is we'll calculate the cash that will be remitted by the consignee. So let's calculate the cash that the consignee will actually transfer to the consignor. So apparently it seems that the consignee should transfer entire 30,000, but here consignee will keep the commissions and advertising and installation. Those will be reimbursed. So we have to subtract those, and the net cash that actually the consignor will receive, we have to calculate that. That means for part C, first you will see the sales revenues, consignment sales. We all have the numbers, 30,000. Then this is the cash consignee received from the customer. But when the consignee will transfer the cash, the consignee will subtract commissions and subtract the advertising that would be reimbursed. And then we'll also subtract the installation cost that was paid. So then you subtract commission 1,800. We already calculated the number, 6%. Advertising 200. Installation 320. After subtracting the net cash that will be transferred by the consignee to consignor will be, let me write it, net cash remittance will be 30,000 minus 1,800 minus 200 minus 320, which is 27,680. So the consignee will record only the commissions as his income or revenues. And another point you have to remember, when you calculate the cost of goods sold, we only record or add the freight cost. On the other hand, advertising, installations, those are not the part of the cost of goods sold. That's why we didn't record all those. Those are related to the sales.